Hello, everybody. Sorry, I'm a couple minutes late here. To bring like half my kitchen into my office here. Oh, how is everyone tonight? We had an absolutely gorgeous day. Actually, almost 3 gorgeous days. 2 for sure. It got into the low 60s today and sunny, little breeze. Everything is greening up. I don't know if you can see. No, it's too bright out there. Anyway, sun is shining, everything else. So, hello. I'm gonna start from hey, Alicia, Kiri, Patty, hello. Tomato soup and crackers here tonight. That sounds really good, actually. Michelle, hi. Julie, hello. I'm giddy. Why am I giddy? Oh, fresh air, probably. Get the house opened up, been outside. So, good fresh air other than the cold winter air that we get, right? Shady Hill, hello, how are you? Oh, so good to see everybody. Twitter page. Oh, no, Julie, I wish, but no. Oh, goodness sakes. Good to see everybody. Good to see everyone. We, well, I started a little bit early here. Look at my onions. Look at how straight and strong these are getting. These are, I think, 9 weeks today. So, and they should go 12 to 16 weeks. I think I'm going to need to start fertilizing them pretty soon for bulbs to grow. And I am like, I forget all this stuff. I need to write it down and have like a chart in front of me or something. But you guys, what is good for fertilizing the onions to make the bulbs grow more? I don't have problems with the greens growing. Those leaves are just growing like crazy. I've got to trim them almost twice a week now. And like you saw, they're getting very strong. They are, I would say, at least 1/8 of an inch in diameter. So, which is a pretty good strong stem. They're not like little wisps anymore. I have sun. Yes, we have sunshine. Oh my goodness. We you had 2 hot days, 2 forest fires. Ooh. Back to chilly weather. We're supposed to get some chilly weather later this week. I mean, tomorrow's high is in the 50s, so yeah, that's still chilly. And then 70s on Wednesday, and then we get down again, chillier. We actually have 2 nights that are going to be almost at freezing. So, getting close to Memorial Day, and we're still getting the chance of some possible frost there. So that's why I don't worry about planting anything until almost June 1st. So each leaf is part of the bulb. Yep. That I know. I was just wondering what it could, I know trifecta is good. I know different things. So you'll take chili right now? Yeah, I know. I'm not ready for the heat. And a year ago, this time, we were already 100 degrees, which was insane. So I am loving this weather, actually. We might be a little bit below normal, not much, maybe 5 to 10 degrees, something like that. So it's nothing terrible, exact. But use stubborn tomato plants. Is it normal for them to seem like they are not really growing fast enough? Transfer them to solo cups. One does now have 5 offshoots. By the offshoots, Alicia, are you talking about leaves, or they're actually trying to start another full stem that is going to grow? Because you're growing in containers, I would suggest, and I don't know, I'll get you everybody else's input on this too, but I would suggest trying to do trim it so that it can grow just straight and tall, rather than out in a bush, because I don't know if if the pot can sustain a full bush. Also, if you have room for that. So I don't know. I'm trying to start another stem with leaves. Okay. The plants are going to leaf out, and the leaves can be 18 inches long or something, the offshoot with the leaf. The thing that you don't want is, okay, so you've got a stem coming up and you've got a leaf coming out here. And then right in that shoulder, right in there, some people call it the crotch, but in the shoulder, right in between there, if there's another little sprout coming in there, that's what we call a sucker. And you want to pinch those off because those will start like a whole nother stem and go off. And what they do is they suck all the energy out of the main stem. So the plant just starts growing, leaves and stems and everything else like that. And what you want is to get a nice, strong central stem that can support lots of tomatoes. So that's the point of growing a good plant is you want to get tomatoes on it. You don't want tons of green stuff in that way. So after seeing your electric bill, you're trying to use the AC. Oh, card file, each type of veg, you go, yeah. Feed onions now. There you go. That's so good, Patty. My problem is I've got so much going on right now. I have been working in my job, my business like crazy. And it's just, I'm trying to get 4 major projects done. And a project, I mean like a fully built website for different things by the end of the month. And so a lot of stuff going on, but plus trying to manage the outside that's starting to just like explode in green and growing. I just got my grass mowed this weekend, and parts of it were like 10 inches long already, and it's just crazy. It's crazy. Hey, Eli. No worries. So you pics on Instagram. Okay. Yeah, because then I can trying to start another stem with leaf. That'll be good, Alicia, and then I can see what's going on with that. But Wholesome Roots did a video on tomatoes. Tomatoes don't have suckers. That is interesting that she said that. Every year I'm trimming suckers off of there. So grasses are all flowering here now. Oh yeah, our pollen is extremely high right now. Extremely high. The trees are all starting to leaf out a little bit. They get their initial buds. Their seeds are growing. Those huge elms that I have in the back of my property, oh my goodness, they're loaded with seeds. They're all green right now, but in another week or so, probably they will be they'll be browning up and falling all over my garden. So I have all kinds of elm trees growing up. Hey, Matt and Sarah, hello. How are you? Oh, Sarah. I know, isn't the weather been gorgeous? Oh, it's like you just want to be outside all day. Patty, I can believe it just for the amount of vegetation that you have. I just can believe it. Yeah. They say keep on with the nitrogen because there's usually enough phosphorus and potassium for them. They also recommend manure. Well, I don't know that I'm going to put manure in here. I'll put it in my garden bed. But so I know the nitrogen grows the leaves, but so they're good for the bulbs then too. Okay. Suckers there are branches. Look up Wholesome Roots. Yeah, you will get tomatoes off of them, Curie. Absolutely. But and it'll be, if you want a full bush type of thing, then don't worry about the suckers. Just let it all go. But if you're limited on space and trying to have that stem go up, then and you want to train it to go up a stake or something like that, then it's helpful to get rid of the suckers, because that allows the energy to continue the plant getting stronger and going vertical, and then putting out clusters of tomatoes. So anyway, just not at ground level. That's true. Let me see. We produce grass seed, lots of turf. Oh, okay. So that's where we get our sod from. No, actually, I know there's sod farms around here. Commercial growers will prune tomato plants in a V shape, and they get lots of fruit off the plants. Nice. Dixondale has a feeding turf for onions. Ah, okay. Let me make a note of that here. Thank you, Julie. Dixondale onion feeding. Oops, church. Okay, super. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So anyway, we had a wild week of weather. Oh my goodness. Wednesday, I was driving it. I mean, it was like every day. I think last Monday the weather was pretty good, and I told you we had some weather coming up. I think it started Tuesday. I'm not sure, but definitely Wednesday. Wednesday we had from the morning or midday, we had through the night, we had 7 different systems come through, and each one was severe thunderstorms, wind, hail, just pouring. I mean, probably 2 to 3 inches of rain for each one. We had 7 systems come through. We've got so much flooding going on around, branches down everywhere. So that was Wednesday, and I was at a town about a half hour north of here, and I was driving back through it. I actually had to stop and take shelter with my car at one point because it was so bad. So anyway, we had wind gusts up to, I think they were 50, 60, 70 miles an hour, something like that. And it was just torrential rains, and it was nasty. And then Thursday came. Oh my gosh. I'm trying to remember what time it was. So we had a couple storms come through during the day, kind of regular thunderstorms, but then there was one system that came through and ended up being straight line winds with tornadoes. And it was about 7:00 at night, something like that. It was crazy. Yes, the sirens went off. Yes, I was in my basement for about a half hour. There were tornadoes, 3 that I know of within a 20-mile vicinity of me. Closest one was probably, I don't know, 8 to 12 miles away, something like that. But it was a system. It looked like a big amoeba with a spine on it, and it was curved. So all of this yellow and orange stuff here, but the spine, it looked just like vertebrae with, pockets, the cells just going down. It was all red. It was just all red, and it was curved like this. And as it came up, this curve, the leading edge went right over my house. Oops. So it came right over me. So leading edge, and I was just like, oh, Lord Jesus, help us. It's like I was in the basement praying so hard. Oh, wow. It was, it was, give you an idea, they're clocking winds at 97 and 100 miles an hour with the straight line winds. And then you throw some tornadoes in the middle of that. Some friends of mine, there was a barn or a tool shed that was about 3 miles away from them that just, straight line winds would just like take it and blow it. It had been it was like, there were parts scattered for miles. It was just like it exploded, and that would be a tornado. So, yeah, Eli, don't even joke about that. It's like, oh my goodness. It is a nasty business. It really is. So, it also, knocked the train off the track 8 miles from me. So that's some strong stuff. There's another town about 17 miles from me that got really smackered. Um, trees and different things like that all over the place. Another one a little bit further west from that was, you know, power lines snapped all over the place. It's kind of like a hurricane going through really fast. But the storm itself, that whole thing, that's fine. It was moving at 90 miles an hour. The storm system moved at 90 miles an hour. And then so it had, 100-mile winds with all of that going in there. 100 mile an hour, sorry. In South Dakota, that got hit too from this, they were clocking at 120 miles an hour. So it was nuts. It was crazy. And so, really didn't until the weather got nice this weekend, then I was able to mow and get a few things done. It was like, not even consideration of trying to plant or do any gardening or anything with that kind of weather. I mean, everything is so saturated and it's one storm after another. So it was really kind of like a week of survival almost. It's supposed to start again tomorrow. And so we were supposed to have like a nice week, and now like, all of a sudden, it's coming from the west as it normally does, and yeah. So hopefully, I mean, they're just saying thunderstorms, so hopefully it's not going to be anything as drastic. So anyway, it has been crazy. Thanks, Alicia. Thank you. Oh, Kiri, I wish we could give you some of our water. Yeah, it's um, rivers are overflowing and flooded. The ditches all along the highways are flooded. There are places closed. Oh, and then an I-94, Interstate 94, which is just north of me. They had to close it because there were several semis that had blown over in the winds. So they had closed all that. I mean, it was some nasty stuff. It was crazy. Yeah, it was super fast. Hey, Michigan Daffodil, you love the onion saga. It's very informative. Well, I'll show them to you again. My onions. Look at how strong those babies are getting. So, with the weather we've been having, I don't want to put those out there. They'll just get demolished. Either get broken right over, or we get hail or something. It'll just smash them. And I've put time into these babies here. I've nurtured them. I've trimmed their hair. I've taken care of them really good, and I don't want anything to happen to them. The salad greens, yes, I did cut off quite a bit yesterday. So that's true. That's true, Eli. I hear you. Hello, BG. Well, thank you for coming. First time here. What are their names? Oh, this one would be my sweet Spanish. Hola. Belitas, señoritas, my papitas. Oh, yes. I got some Walla Wallas over there too. But anyway. Do I have any pointers on how to store powdered sugar long term? I would probably, there's a lot of things you don't want to keep in their original plastic bags and everything, because those not only deteriorate after a while, but the properties of the plastic the smell will kind of leach into your product, whether it's powdered sugar or what. Hey, Glenn, how are you? Kelly's listening. I did sleep a little bit last night, so it's yes, the fresh air. It's like done things to my brain. Um, where was I? Oh, powdered sugar. I would probably put it in a jar and like a half gallon jar or something like that, and vacuum seal it if you're able to. It's one of the things I was going to show you tonight. Or you could put it in Mylar bags if you want really long term. We talked about that last week. If you want to go back and watch that live. Um, yeah, powdered sugar would be good in a Mylar bag. I think you could do 2 pounds. A 2 pound bag would probably fit in a gallon Mylar bag, I'm thinking. And then put an oxygen absorber in there, and then Gil gave a hint of using or a tip I should say of using coffee filters along the seam when you vacuum seal it. So it helps to keep the powder from coming into the vacuum sealer. So but if you cannot vacuum sugar, how is it can be is sugar one is that the one thing that they say don't vacuum seal? I thought it was that you don't want to put you don't want to put moisture absorbers in there or something. Um, that would keep the ants out too. Yes. Yes. Powdered sugar would be different than actual sugar. I know sugar and salt and I can't remember what else, but there's some things that you don't want to do to it. And since I wasn't going to talk about that tonight, I don't have that information right on hand. I know I've covered it before and I've read about it and everything, but okay. Okay, so it is oxygen absorbers, and powders are hard to seal. But using a jar is a little different. Yeah, you can make it as you go. That's a good point, Patty. Absolutely. If you want to take regular sugar and then just grind it up and make your own powdered sugar out of it. But you could still put it in a Mylar bag, try to squeeze as much air out of it as you can and seal it up. That will last a lot longer than just keeping it in your regular plastic bags, and then put it into another container like I was showing last week, a food grade buckets and everything, and seal those up tight. So you've got that in a Mylar within a bucket and with a good seal on it. So you made a stand to put your vacuum sealer on to seal vertically. That's nice. Very smart. Yeah, you can make it. Yep, you can do brown sugar too. You can even do that for maple sugar. Just take maple syrup and make your own maple sugar with that too. So you place powders like flour in brown paper bags and vacuum seal them. It doesn't get into the sealer. That's a great idea. Very good idea. That's kind of what we do here. It's like everybody here most people here have years of experience of different things, and not just one of us can do everything or experience everything or know everything. So that's where I love having you guys give input on what works for you and what doesn't. And again, a lot of things for growing things, it's kind of regional, according to your climate, your zones, whatever. But you're in the garden planting. Nice. Oh, that's so great. New to dehydrating, not even a week. Okay, very good. Very, very good. Yes, brown sugar is easy to make. Yep. You cannot afford the buckets and do not have room for them. Reside in Florida, cannot keep them in the shed. So true. Anybody else from Florida Glenn, I think, Glenn, are you in Florida? I'm trying to remember. If you have any tips, that would be great. Check out Darcy. Does anybody else know Darcy? If you want to put a link up for them. Yep. How to Garden is in Florida. So BG, maybe you could, get some hints from him too. That would be great. Yeah, it's so much easier to have your basic things, like have some molasses, have your regular sugar, have maple syrup, that type of thing, and then being able to make your powdered things from that, which would be great. And that's something that I wouldn't just say, okay, well, I could do this with that, and then I'm just going to store it away. Make sure you practice it. Try to have some experience with it. Develop that skill and say, okay, this is how I do it, or this works better for me because of my high humidity, or this works better for me because I'm in the desert, or this works better for me because I live in an area that gets 40 below zero Fahrenheit. So it's all these kind of things. So Grammy Karen, hello. Yes, lots of practice. Absolutely. Red Rose Homestead is great too. Nice. There's lots of channels out there that have lots of information too. So anyway, now that we've got, let me see, was there anything else I needed to tell you about? Yeah, we're just going to be getting a lot more weather this week. It's been crazy wet here too. But last year we were in a severe drought, so it's definitely making up for it. So there are so many different vacuum sealers out there, and this is just what I have. Find what is in your budget, find what works for you. Even if you buy it with another family member and then just share it or something like that. Donna, hello. How are you? BG, you're welcome. We'll try to be, we're here to try to help one another, not be in competition with one another at all. So we try to do that. So, so anyway, this is what I have. I have a Foodsaver. I don't know if you guys see that or not. Yep, Foodsaver. And it's electric, so I plug it in. And I'm not going to run it here because it's so noisy. But it's got a little lever on the side here for opening. Oh, there we go. Opening this up. And so you can see where you lay your bag edge here, and then you put it down and you lock it in place, and it will automatically go. And these little lights, these little things light up, whether it is vacuuming and sealing or just sealing. So this, I have the option to just seal it, which is great for like doing the bags with powders in it and stuff. If I just want to seal and I don't want to vacuum seal it or anything. So this little baby over here is awesome because that's what I use to vacuum seal jars. So again, you plug it in and you run it just like you normally would, but I have this little hose attachment and these two things, and these come in a kit. I don't know if both of these sizes come together. I think it depends on who sells them and what you purchased and everything. But since I use regular mouth and wide mouth, I got them both. Here's is an only one option sealer. Yeah, I really like having both of them. That's just, your garden is planted, Karen. Nice. Oh, I need to get out there and do it. It's just again, I said, fighting the weather. So anyway, it's got this little thing. Now, this particular hose has a green end and a gray end. And it actually says on here, does it say there? To the vacuum sealer. Okay, and this one says to your accessory. if you can read it. There we go. So what I do is push it in here until it snaps. I don't have the breaker sealer. I tried getting one last year, but they went out of stock or something. So it's on my list of things to get. And I'll talk about that in a little bit. So now we're umbilicaled here. And so you plug this in, all that kind of stuff. What I'm going to do, pretend this is full of whatever you want. I mean, it could be full of, say, chocolate chips or something that you want to store away. You put your lid on it, just the lid, not the ring, just the lid. And then this little thing has a rubber gasket inside, or a silicone gasket. Yay! Okay, so what happens when I'm trying to have you see, I got to be at an angle. So then you just push this down over that until it is very secure. And then you can see the top here has a hole, and this is to the accessory. And you plug that in here, and then you run the machine. And you can hear it, right? I don't want to run it because, first of all, I don't have anything in here, and it would just like suck the air. And what it does is it sucks the oxygen out of here in the air. So, so anyway, it'll go in, and you'll hear the machine change kind of its tune as it's going. And so then it will automatically shut off once it knows that it's fully sucked out all the air in there. Then what I do is take this off and if it's got a good seal, you'll hear this psh when I pull that off, kind of like the hydraulics on a semi or something. So it's like psh. And then I could take this off, and when it's done sealing, this is sealed on there and sealed really tight. Of course, I didn't seal it, so it's not on there, but that's all that goes to it. So pretty swift and easy. If you have, let's say you have a half-gallon jar of crackers or something that you've sealed up that you want to last for months and just go in a little at a time, you can take the seal off, try to break the seal without bending it or anything like that. Take what you need out of the jar, put it back, and you can reseal it. That's one thing that's so nice about using a jar as opposed to a bag. You're not changing the volume of your container. So you can just keep resealing it and open it up, reseal it, open it up, that type of thing. So that makes it really handy in that way. So yes, Julia did. Just had to snow 2 weeks ago. Grass is 10 inches long now. We had tornadoes, huge storms. It's like, yep, but typical May, actually. So anyway, any questions on the vacuum sealer itself? When I use bags, you can get bags that are already pre-sized to like gallon or quart bags or something. Patty, yes, it was. Thank you, Karen. You can use the lids that you take off jars always. Yes, very good, Michelle. Absolutely. Freeze-dried, then vacuum seal. Yes. It's a great thing for freeze-dried food. Absolutely. It's vacuum seal them up in the jars. So you can get bags, and they're at least the Foodsaver bags, but most bags need to be vacuum sealed. They've got, you can see this texture kind of in here, like little diamond texture. And one side is smooth and the other side is rough. And so it has to go in a certain way, and that helps to seal it up and make sure the vacuum sticks. Now, what I like to do, because it saves a lot of money in the long run, is I will buy a roll of of the plastic. So you can see that it's sealed on the top and the bottom. And so what I can do is like, okay, so if I want to do something in the freezer, let's say I have a pork chop or something, and it's going to be about this big. You want to allow a good inch to an inch and a half at least on each end to seal it. So if I have a pork chop here, and then I can cut it right here, I can seal the bottom like I did on this. I can seal the bottom, make my little pouch, put the food in there, and then seal it up there. And so that I've got the size exactly what I want, rather than trying to put them all in gallon bags that I waste a lot with that, So BG, I am in West Central Minnesota. So yes, it has been, like Patty said, the weather has been a raging teenager. Oh my goodness, it is. You've seen all the rain and cool temps. Oh, in Patty's area, yep. It's been crazy. So you have peas, tomatoes, green beans, and diced tomatoes conditioning right now. You can't wait to use a capsule. Oh, okay. Conditioning. Are you talking about like dehydrating or? I'm not sure what you mean by conditioning. So, do I grow chives? Yes, I actually do. I started them. Ooh, they're up. Woohoo. I don't remember if I started them from seed last year or the year before. I think it was last year. And they're I see them out there. They're probably 8 to 9 inches tall right now. So I'm gonna have a good cluster out there this summer. So it just took a little while. So okay. Yep. Vacuum sealing is excellent for dehydrated foods, for freeze-dried foods, for other things that you want to store for a while. I even do it with popcorn. If I get a bag of popcorn, pour it in a gallon jar or half-gallon jar or something like that. Not a gallon, a quart jar, a quart or a half-gallon jar, and then vacuum seal it up. If I'm not going to get to it for a year or 2 years or something like that. That's really the best way to do it because, like I said, that plastic can deteriorate over time. It can do all kinds of funky things. So, have I made chive dressing or chive butter? I have not made chive butter. I've used chives in some things, and I actually have saved my cuttings from the onions, and use those in a lot of different recipes. But chive butter, I keep seeing recipes for all these wonderful flavored butters, and I just go, oh, that'd be so good to do. And I just never get around to doing it. I would love to. Do some research on the different brands of vacuum sealing bags. Some are not worth buying and won't seal. Yep. Yeah, and like this is actually Foodsaver brand. So like Patty said, if you get like the cheaper off-brand things, a lot of times they won't work. And again, you're preserving your food that you've spent a lot of money on, sometimes a lot of work getting to it, and you want to make sure that you're giving it the best little home that it can be until you're ready to use it. So after dehydrating, place in jars and for 1 week, check several times a day for clumps, moisture. If there's moisture, back in the dehydrator. That is conditioning. Okay, there you go. Very good. So I've shown you those things. You bought a vacuum sealer a few years ago. It didn't work, so I had to return it. Okay. Yep. Eli, were you here last week? I talked about Mylar a lot last week. So, if you have questions about Mylar or different things like that, go back and check last week live. So, and we talked about vacuum sealing the Mylar and everything. So I didn't have enough time to bring all this stuff out. Look, it's already 1:45 here. Okay. Thank you for reminding me again, Patty. Yes, another handheld, non-electric vacuum sealer is a brake bleeder. So it's got like a hand pump to it, and it's got a little gauge on it and everything like that. But I'm trying to remember what they run. Uh, 40, 50 bucks maybe or something. Maybe you can get them cheaper. Anyway, a brake bleeder is another good option to have for, like I said, if you don't have power and everything, you still want to vacuum seal things. So it again has a hose that you can just plug right into that. And thanks, Karen. Harbor Freight has them. Any other auto store, very good. And Amazon has a lot too. So if you don't have a Harbor Freight or anything around you, that will definitely be helpful too. So other than how to store things and what supplies to have in there, I just wanted to cover a few other just basic supplies. If you've not done any preserving, brake bleeders are $25. There you go. Okay. And again, make sure that you check the reviews on them to make sure that they're, a reputable brand, that they're not going to break down. You're not going to, be disappointed that you purchased that. But it's good to have it for emergency uses too. When I think about, well, you probably wouldn't be if power went out for a couple of weeks. I'm just thinking of like the hurricanes that have hit, especially in the south, or ice storms in the north. And if Dave was here, he would be talking about, I think they were without power for 2 weeks a couple of years ago when they had ice storms. And so think about what's in your freezer and how you want to preserve it. So if you don't have power, how do you do that? So it's not like you can dehydrate anything right away or cook it and or can it or something, but it's a financial wall for you though. Yeah. Yeah. Yes, just to have a list of things that that you have your list of needs and then your list of wants, and just be able to get one thing at a time. I've spent years collecting what I have, so it's like you can't just get it all at one time. It really it's hard. I think Heidi was recommending the 2-in-1 brake bleeder kit because of the different size fittings. There you go. Yes, because if you get one that all of a sudden it's like, it's not fitting this, it's like, that would be frustrating. It would be extremely frustrating to me. So, okay, a couple other things that are inexpensive that are really have to's when you're putting your food together. And if even if you go out to a U-Pick and get a couple crates of strawberries because it's like, I want to make strawberry jam, or I want to have this strawberry pie filling, or whatever it is, what if your rhubarb is coming like crazy and you want to put things together. Because canning season, we think of canning season as being, oh, when the beans and tomatoes are coming and all those things, but it can start like now with the fruit that's coming, or those of you in the south who are already harvesting carrots and tomatoes. It's like we don't have that luxury here. But anyway, some things to have: good old measuring cup. This is a 2-cup. I have a 1-cup, a 2-cup, and a 4-cup. If you can only do one, I would recommend a 2-cup. It just makes life a whole lot easier, and a good solid one that you're not going to lose the markings on it. I had a plastic one for a while that they all rubbed off, and it's like, that doesn't do me any good. I can't measure stuff if I don't have the markings there. It's like, okay, this is not going to be good. All right. And then measuring spoons, whatever you need. I've got like 3 or 4 sets. because when I'm doing the canning, I go through a lot of a lot of different ones. Now this is just a cheap Tupperware set that I've had for like 40 years, but it's got all these different sizes. You can get some that are basic, quarter teaspoon, half teaspoon, teaspoon, and tablespoon or something. And then a couple good spoons to stir. Make sure they're nice, they are nice long-handled ones so that you can stir into a deep pot of hot stuff. If you work it right, canning can be done all year. Absolutely. Absolutely. It's like, Alicia, even with your tomatoes as they start coming, if you can't process them all at one time, or if they're just, 2 here, 3 there, or whatever, core them and put them in. You don't have to take the skins off, but just core them and throw them in a bag in the freezer. And then when you've got them all together, you can take them out and process them. So yeah, you don't have to do them immediately when they come. Of course, it depends on what, if you need fresh strawberries for what you're doing, you don't necessarily probably want to throw them in the freezer, but it still works, Anything on a good sale you can put up in jars, can it? Yes. Yes. Yes, Alicia, I know. I did sell Tupperware at one time for about a year. And so I got a lot of Tupperware, which I still have the majority of it, but yeah. Okay. I'm about to feed my first food. Oh, you're so kind. All right. Some kind of ladle. This is just an inexpensive, kind of a plastic silicone type of one. I like it because it's got little pour things on it. I do have 2 stainless ones too. So if you need to I didn't want to show you my stainless one because then you're like, oh, I'm going to buy, a $15 stainless ladle. It's like, no, you don't. You can go to the dollar store, pick up a $1 ladle, and you're good. Okay. But just something that can scoop out and pour into your jars. Okay. You want to be able to do that. Now, the other thing you need is a funnel. I used a plastic funnel for years, probably 20 years, until I finally upgraded to a stainless one. And I do love it. This one is a little wider, and it works on both regular mouth jars and wide mouth jars. So you just put it in there, take your ladle, scoop your stuff in there, and ladle it right in here. Then you're not getting it like all over your jars and your rings and making a mess there. It's so much easier to go into the wide funnel, or if you need to pour something in there or whatever, so much easier. So much easier to use this. So anyway, a funnel. So that is, I would say that's a necessity to have too. I know, isn't it great? Patty is just like, use it for everything. You moved to Florida and let go of all your things to do with canning, cookies. I know, BG, I know. Quite a few years ago, was when I went back to school. So it was probably 12 years ago. I was like trying to clean out some areas and everything. And it was like, my girls had left home and I wasn't needing to garden as much and put up as much food as I had. So I had tons and tons of jars, of boxes of jars, and I gave away probably 15 to 20 dozen quart jars. And of course, a couple of years ago, I was like, oh, I wish I had not done that because I had to start buying jars again. So, okay. Another thing, when you're canning, you need a jar lifter. So, trying to remember who was using it. Upside down. Sarah, was that Matt that was doing? I can't remember. It was, oh no, Grandma Karen. I think that was Zach that was using it upside down. He thought this was what had to grab it, but no. So you want a jar lifter with the rubberized things, and be able to lift your jar out of the hot water, or putting it, if it's full of hot produce, you want to be able to put it back down into your canner. Also, if you've got these sterilizing in a hot water bath or something, it's easy to pull them out. Zach, that's right. See, I remember those little thingies. Oh my goodness. Too much too much random trivial stuff going around in my brain there. It was Zach. Okay. Yeah, hundreds of jars. Yeah. Oh, I hear you. Okay. I put a link in the show notes below, BG, that I just checked on them this afternoon, and it is Lem Products. I'd never heard of them before, but they've got full preserving kits as well as Presto canners and everything at really reasonable prices. You can get the canner and all of the funnel, all of this stuff, a whole kit of things, like 12 or 15 items for like $150 or something. So, but yes, yard sales, all that kind of stuff. Oh, need a new jar lifter. That's a good point too, is that to keep an eye on the rubberized thing, that if it's starting to crack and to not be grabby anymore or anything like that, it'd be a good thing to replace it. Because, and if rust starts showing up or anything, because you can end up damaging your jars. Speaking of jars and everything else, another thing that is very, very helpful, you don't have to have this, but it's really helpful. When you are canning, you need to debubble your produce, no matter what's in there, just because bubbles in there can create a false seal when it's all done. And oxygen is the enemy of your food. And that's why we want to, we pressure can to get the oxygen out. We make sure that everything's in there. So you want to make sure that it doesn't have any bubbles in there, because then it will start to rot. You can create other things going on. I've had this from the beginning. It's from Ball. See, Ball. And it's just a plastic thing, and I could put it down in the jars and debubble what I want. And so this is what I use. You can use like a thin spatula. You can use, they've got different debubblers sticks and stuff like that. There's some of the newer ones that actually have like little notches at the end that will, help you to measure from the mouth of your jar down, so you can get the right height and stuff like this. The reason I like this is because, let me see, it's 12 inches long. And so I can easily go down into quart jars with hot liquid. Let's say it's, a hot tomato sauce or something like that. And I can get down in there and not have to worry about burning my hands with all that kind of stuff. Chopsticks, there you go. That's a good idea. You cut the old rubber off your old can lifter and dipped it in heat silicone. Ooh, very smart. Thrift stores. Yes. Thank you, Karen, for putting up that link. I appreciate that. Yeah, chopsticks. BG, Grammy Karen just put the link up there above. Otherwise, it is below in my notes below the video that you can go to after we're done here if you want to. But yes, Amazon's got all of these products too. This is 28 years old. So I don't know if they even make these anymore. They change things up a lot. So, all right. Then the other thing, when you are water bath canning, you want to, sometimes you want to be sterilizing your lids. And so you're putting them in hot boiling water. Well, when you have a lid like this in the hot water, you don't want to be sticking your fingers into the hot water trying to pull it out. So they made these nifty, nifty little lid lifters with a magnet at the bottom. And so all you have to do is dunk that into your pot of water and pull one up. It's so nifty. This, I mean, it's a couple dollars. It's well worth it to have that on hand. So those are kind of some of my real basics. You can use, as far as a pot, you can just use a, what do you call it? A Dutch oven, if you have that as part of your cookware. Otherwise, years ago, I did invest in a stainless pot. This one's a 10 quart. A couple of years ago, I upped my game and did purchase a 20 quart stainless stock pot. You want to make sure it's, again, an investment, because if you get a cheap aluminum, first of all, you don't want to be cooking in aluminum, in that way and preparing your food in aluminum. But so a stainless pot, if it's really thin on the bottom or anything, it's going to not only wear out really fast, it's going to burn your food and all that kind of stuff. So this one has some weight to it. I don't know if you can see the bottom there. That's solid underneath there. And so I've had this for many, many years, and look at how it still is great inside. Tell you what, when you cook a whole thing of tomatoes in here, it cleans up your pots really good. Really, really good. So you need to get a bigger stock. But yes, you do, Julie. Yes. So I did get a 20 last year. All right. I'm running out of time here. A couple other things that you could get, make sure you have some hand towels around, maybe ones that you want to designate just for canning, because you'll get tomato sauce on them. You'll get blueberry sauce on them. You'll get all kinds of other things. You wouldn't want to use like your good hand towels that go in the bathroom or something like that. So have some towels handy. Strainer, colander, those are always really good because you need to wash your vegetables, your fruit. A cutting board. What are some other things? Some optional things that could be on like a wish list could be like a food strainer or a food mill. It's not a have to. As long as you've got a regular mesh strainer, you can get pretty much everything through there. And maybe a kitchen scale that helps with like measurements and stuff like that when you're doing different recipes, because they might say, well, okay, want 6 pounds of tomatoes, and you're going like, well, how much is that? That type of thing. So paper towels, paper towels are good. A good sharp knife, yes, I actually had that on my list. Thank you, Patty, for mentioning that. Yes, a good sharp knife. Yes, it doesn't mean you need a whole butcher block full of knives. It's just one good one that, it doesn't even have to be an expensive knife, just one that you keep sharp, So, all right. I can't believe that I've already gone through this hour. Okay. My garden tip is to use a good multi-granular fertilizer when planting your tomatoes and your peppers. Put them right in the holes that you dig and everything. Put about 1/4 of a cup in there. Use like Trifecta from Emma Gardner or Dr. Earth's or something like that. But just put that in there. Then you don't have to worry about it. So it's just right down there with the roots. Water it, plant them in there, and you're good. My prep tip for tonight is for summer storm season. Just do a check on your roof, your siding, your foundation, all those kind of things to make sure that you're ready for severe thunderstorms, tornadoes, hurricanes, and floods. If you find anything, just make the necessary repairs or preparations. Like it's like, you're in Hurricane Alley or something like that. You don't have shutters on your windows. And it's like, okay, that would be something that you might want to do. If you have any holes in your siding, any areas that have gaps or everything, and you can't afford to get things fully repaired, use some flex tape or Gorilla Tape or something like that to patch these holes temporarily, and that will help you out a lot. So anyway, yes. Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, that'd be another wish list one. Patty is, yeah, chopped veggies. Absolutely. Um, you love your clock. Which clock? My clock. I don't have a clock in here. Are you talking about, that I'm going overtime? So, or build a hobbit house. There you go. That could work too. Um, Pressure cookers, you know what the pressure is at the other may heat and cool heat. They haven't been tested by the powers that be. Okay. Um, yeah. Tea towels, lots of tea towels help when canning. Yep. So, yeah, if you've not purchased any type of, oh, my grandfather clock? No, I don't have a grandfather clock. Those are shelves. Um, that's a door. That is my little mini greenhouse there, where my little senoritas will go. Yes, I did. No, I don't have a grandfather clock. Sorry. Anyway, it's starting to get cloudy again and dark. So here we go. Another round. It's not supposed to rain till tomorrow afternoon, so I don't know what the deal is. But anyway, you guys, thank you for hanging out with me later than normal. And I really appreciate it. Thanks, Carrie. And I need to do a short video of my onions. There you go. I know, rain time again, right? So you guys take care. God bless. Always have hope. Thank you for being with me this week, and we will see you next Monday. Take care. Bye-bye.